For decades, the world has been telling people in their 70s to slow down, to settle, to accept that the best years are behind them. But what if the advice handed out in waiting rooms and printed on pamphlets, is exactly backwards? What if the people who are thriving at 75 and 80 are not lucky? What if they are simply doing 7 specific things that almost no one talks about? Things that have nothing to do with expensive medications or complicated diets? And what if I told you that the number one thing on this list, the single behavior that separates people who remain sharp, strong, and fully independent in their late 70s from those who don't, is something that fewer than 9% of adults in this age group do consistently? Researchers at one of the most respected neuroscience institutions in the world have called it the most underused longevity tool available to anyone over 70, without a prescription, without a gym membership, without spending a single dollar. Stay with me until the end, because that one could genuinely change how you approach the rest of your life. I'm Dr. Margaret Ellis, and I have spent the last 24 years working specifically with adults between the ages of 68 and 85. Not in a hospital setting. In community clinics, home visits, and long-term care consultations. I have sat across from thousands of people in this exact age range. And I have watched very carefully what separates the ones who flourish from the ones who fade. Before we begin, I want to share one number with you. A landmark study from the University of Michigan's Institute for Social Research followed 4,800 adults between the ages of 70 and 82 for 14 years. What they found was striking. Those who maintained 5 or more of the specific daily behaviors we are going to discuss today were 58% less likely to experience what researchers call accelerated functional decline, the kind that leads to lost independence, lost mobility, and lost cognitive clarity. 58%. I want you to hold that number, because by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what drives it. Now, before we count down from number 7 to number 1, I want to ask you something. Drop your age in the comments below. Tell me how old you are and tell me which of these 7 things you think you already do. I read every single comment on this channel. Every one. This community means everything to me, and your story matters. Number 7. And I want to start here because I see this misunderstood constantly, and it genuinely concerns me. Most people in their 70s believe that staying active means going to a gym, or completing a set number of steps, or following a structured fitness routine. So when their knees ache or their energy dips, or life simply gets in the way, they stop moving altogether. And they tell themselves they will start again when they feel better. That waiting is one of the most dangerous things a body over 70 can do. Here is what is actually happening inside your body when you move. Even gently. Your muscles contain something called GLUT4 transporters. Think of them like tiny doors on the surface of your muscle cells. When you move, when you walk to the kitchen, carry a laundry basket, tend your garden, those doors open. And glucose floods in. Your blood sugar drops naturally. Your insulin sensitivity improves. Your brain receives a fresh wave of oxygenated blood. Now imagine those doors being rusted shut for days at a time. That is what happens with prolonged sitting. The doors stop opening. The glucose stays in the bloodstream, and the damage builds quietly, day by day, in ways you cannot feel until something breaks. A study from the Mayo Clinic involving 3,100 adults aged 70 to 79, followed for 9 years, found that those who engaged in at least 22 minutes of low-intensity deliberate movement daily, not structured exercise, just intentional movement, showed a 41% lower rate of cardiovascular events and a 34% reduction in all-cause mortality compared to their sedentary peers. 41% from 22 minutes of gentle, purposeful movement. Harold, 74 years old, from Tucson, Arizona, came to see me after his daughter insisted. He had not left his apartment in 11 days. His words to me were, "Doctor, my body just doesn't want to do anything anymore." We did not start with exercise. We started with one rule: stand up and walk to the window every hour. That was it. 6 weeks later, Harold was walking 2 blocks to his neighborhood cafe every morning. His fasting glucose had dropped 18 points. And he told me, with his eyes a little wet, I forgot what outside smelled like. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your daily movement with exposure to natural daylight, even 10 minutes. Daylight triggers your circadian rhythm and stimulates serotonin production, which directly reduces the cortisol that suppresses GLUT4 activity. Movement plus light is measurably more powerful than movement alone for adults over 70. Number 6. And this one surprises almost every patient I share it with. The common belief is that after 70, your appetite naturally decreases. And that is fine. That you need less food. That eating lighter is eating healthier. I hear this constantly. And I want to be very direct with you. That belief is not just wrong. It may be one of the most quietly harmful ideas circulating among people in your age group. After the age of 70, your body undergoes something called anabolic resistance. Your muscle cells become significantly less responsive to protein signals. In practical terms, this means your body now needs more high-quality nutrition, not lessy, to do the same repair work it did at 50. Think of it this way. Imagine your body as a construction crew working overnight to repair a building. At 50, that crew needed 10 bags of cement. At 75, due to anabolic resistance, that same repair job requires 16 bags. But most people are only sending them 8. The building starts to crumble. Not dramatically, quietly. A little muscle lost here. A little bone density there. Until one fall, one infection, one illness tips the balance. Research published in the Journal of Nutrition, Health and Aging, involving 2,900 adults aged 70 to 84 found that those who consumed at least 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight daily, distributed across 3 meals, maintained 44% more lean muscle mass at the end of the 5-year study period. They also showed a 37% lower rate of hospitalization due to fall-related injury. Not a small difference. A life-changing one. Patricia, 77 years old, from Portland, Oregon, came to me after losing nearly 14 pounds in 8 months. Her previous doctor had told her it was normal. Her words, "I just don't feel hungry anymore. I eat when I remember." We restructured her meals around deliberate protein intake. Eggs in the morning, fish at lunch, Greek yogurt in the afternoon. 10 weeks later, she had regained 8 pounds of lean mass. Her grip strength improved by 31%, and she told me something I will never forget. "I can open my own jars again." You have no idea what that means. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your protein meals with a small amount of vitamin D, either through 15 minutes of midday sun or a supplement, SGI, because vitamin D is essential for the absorption and utilization of protein at the cellular level. Without adequate vitamin D, a significant portion of the protein you consume is simply not being used for muscle repair. You are investing in materials your body cannot accept. Number 5. And I want to be careful here because sleep after 70 is far more complex than most people realize. The misconception I encounter most often is this. People believe that waking up at night is simply part of getting older. That fragmented sleep is normal and acceptable. So they stop trying to improve it. They take an over-the-counter sleep aid occasionally. They nap during the day to compensate. And they assume there is nothing more to be done. There is. And it matters more than almost anything else on this list. Here's what most people do not know about what happens in your brain during deep sleep after 70. Your brain has a waste clearance system called the glymphatic system. Think of it like a nightly sewage crew that only works while you are in deep, slow-wave sleep. This crew flushes out metabolic waste products, including a protein called amyloid beta, which accumulates between brain cells and is directly associated with cognitive decline. After 70, your slow-wave sleep decreases by up to 70% from what it was at 30, which means the sewage crew is working with a skeleton staff, and the waste builds up, night after night, year after year. A study from the University of California, Berkeley, involving 1,600 adults aged 68 to 80, found that those with consistently disrupted sleep showed a 63% higher accumulation of amyloid plaques on brain imaging over a 6-year period. And those who implemented a structured sleep ritual, consistent bedtime, cool room, no screens for 45 minutes before sleep, showed measurably better clearance of these compounds, 63%. That is not a marginal difference. That is the difference between a brain that ages slowly and one that does not. George, 72 years old, from Nashville, Tennessee, told me, "I haven't slept through the night in 4 years. I just accepted it. We did not change his medications. We built him a sleep ritual, bedroom temperature set to 66 degrees, a consistent 10 p.m. bedtime 7 days a week, and 10 minutes of slow breathing before lying down. 8 weeks later, his daughter called me. She said, "Whatever you did, he is a different person in the mornings." His cognitive assessment scores improved in 2 of 4 domains, at 72. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your sleep ritual with a small amount of glycine, found naturally in bone broth or available as an inexpensive supplement. Research from Osaka City University shows that glycine taken 30 minutes before bed measurably increases slow-wave sleep in adults over 65, essentially helping the glymphatic crew work a longer shift. This is one of the most underused sleep tools in senior health. Number 4, and this one is the one that most people dismiss as too soft to be medical. I promise you, it is not. Most people assume that purpose is a luxury, something you have when life is going well, something you find or don't find based on luck or circumstance. So when retirement arrives, or when children move away, or when a partner is lost, purpose quietly exits too. And people accept its absence as inevitable. The research says something completely different. When you engage in purposeful activity, something that requires your attention, your skill, your care, your brain releases a cascade of dopamine reduces inflammation, oxytocin lowers cortisol, BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, promotes the growth of new neural connections. Think of BDNF like fertilizer for your brain. When purpose is absent, that fertilizer stops being produced. The garden of your mind does not stay the same. It begins to thin, slowly, silently. A study from Rush University Medical Center in Chicago, involving 1,400 adults aged 70 to 89, followed for 7 years, found that those who reported a strong sense of daily purpose showed a 52% lower rate of Alzheimer's disease diagnosis. They also lived an average of 2.4 years longer than those with low purpose scores, 52% lower, from something that requires no prescription and no copay. Eleanor, 79 years old from Savannah, Georgia, lost her husband of 51 years and told me, "I don't really see the point of most days anymore. We did not start with therapy. We started with one small act of purpose." She began writing handwritten letters to children in a local hospital. 2 per week. 4 months later, she came back to me with a folder of 38 letters she had received in return. She said, "God, I had something to offer." Her depression screening score had dropped by half. The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your purposeful activity with at least one social element, doing it with or for another person. Research from the University of British Columbia shows that purpose combined with human connection produces BDNF levels significantly higher than either alone. The brain responds most powerfully to meaning that is witnessed. Before I continue, I want to pause for just a moment. If what you are hearing right now is giving you something real, something your doctor has never had time to cover in a 15-minute appointment, I want to ask you to subscribe to this channel. Click the subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell, because every week I bring you research-backed health information designed specifically for adults in your age group. This channel exists for one reason: to give you the truth about your health, clearly, honestly, and completely. And if you know someone between 70 and 85 who needs to hear this, a sister, a neighbor, a friend, please share this video with them today. It may be the most important thing you send them this year. Number 3. And this one sounds almost too simple, but the science behind it is anything but. The misconception is that hydration works the same way at 75 as it did at 45. That if you are thirsty, you drink. If you are not thirsty, you are fine. After the age of 70, your body's thirst signals become significantly blunted. You can be clinically dehydrated and feel nothing. Nothing at all. And the consequences on your balance, your cognition, your kidney function, your blood pressure are immediate and measurable. Your blood is approximately 83% water. It is your body's delivery system, carrying oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and immune signals to every organ and tissue. Think of it like a river that powers an entire town. When that river drops even slightly, by just 2% of body water, the power goes out in parts of the town. Reaction time slows, short-term memory falters, balance deteriorates, blood pressure spikes. After 70, your kidneys also lose roughly 40% of their filtering efficiency. meaning water passes through your system faster and with less absorption. The river drains more quickly, and you cannot feel it happening. A study from the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition involving 2,800 adults over the age of 70 found that those who maintained consistent daily hydration above 1.7 liters showed a 33% lower rate of urinary tract infections, a 27% reduction in fall incidence, and significantly better scores on short-term memory assessments. Falls, memory, infections, all tied to water. Ruth, 76 years old from Albuquerque, New Mexico, came to me with what she described as a fog that never lifts. She was drinking perhaps 3 cups of liquid a day, mostly coffee. We made one change: 12 ounces of water with a pinch of sea salt first thing every morning, then a glass with every meal. 5 weeks later, Ruth told me, "The fog lifted. I thought it was just age. I didn't know it was thirst." The synergy tip here is critical. After 70, plain water is less efficiently absorbed because your kidneys struggle to retain the sodium needed to pull water into your cells. Pair your morning hydration with a small amount of natural sodium, a pinch of sea salt, a few olives, or a quality electrolyte supplement, and your body will absorb and retain that water far more effectively. This single adjustment can change how you feel within days. Number 2. And I have to be honest, this is the one that surprises people the most, because it sounds like advice your grandmother would give you. But the research behind it is harder and more replicable than almost anything else in modern longevity science. The misconception is that social connection is an emotional need, nice to have but not medically significant. So when it becomes difficult, when friends pass away, when mobility limits travel, when family grows busy, people let it go quietly. They tell themselves they are fine alone. They find the television sufficient. They are not fine. And the data on this is devastating. Genuine social interaction, not passive television watching, not existing in the same room as someone might, activates the prefrontal cortex, the hippocampus, and the limbic system simultaneously. Think of it like a full-body workout for your brain. Every real conversation, every moment of shared laughter, disagreement, storytelling, is a full electrical circuit firing across your most important neural networks. When those circuits go quiet for weeks at a time, they begin to thin. The brain does not maintain connections it is not using. It prunes them. After 70, when neuroplasticity is already reduced, pruned connections are far harder to restore. A meta-analysis from Brigham Young University, examining data from 308,000 adults across multiple decades, found that social isolation carried a mortality risk equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes per day. 15 per day. For adults over 70 specifically, the National Institute on Aging found that loneliness accelerates cognitive decline by up to 61% and increases dementia risk by 38%. These are not soft numbers. These are hard outcomes. Thomas, 81 years old from Charleston, South Carolina, had not had a real conversation with anyone outside his family in 6 months. He came to me after his son noticed he was struggling to follow the thread of conversations. His cognitive scores had dropped measurably. We did not change his medications. We gave him a social prescription. 1 phone call per day to a rotating list of friends, 1 weekly lunch with a neighbor, 1 monthly community group. 7 months later, his cognitive scores had returned to near baseline. His son told me, "Dad is back. I didn't realize how much we'd lost him until we got him back." The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your social engagement with physical movement whenever possible. A walk with a neighbor, a gentle exercise class with a group, gardening side by side with someone. Research from the University of British Columbia shows that combining social interaction with even light physical activity produces BDNF levels significantly higher than either behavior alone. Your brain is most alive when your body and your relationships are working together. And now, number 1, the habit that fewer than 9% of adults over 70 maintain consistently. The one that researchers at the University of Edinburgh's Lothian birth cohort have called the most underutilized cognitive longevity intervention available without a prescription. Here's what most people get wrong about keeping the mind sharp. They believe that staying mentally active means doing crossword puzzles, reading the newspaper, watching documentaries. These things have value. I will not dismiss them. But they are not what the research identifies as transformative. Because your brain does not grow from the familiar. It grows from the uncomfortable, from the new, from the struggle of learning something it does not yet know how to do. After 75, your brain begins to strongly prefer established neural pathways. It is extraordinarily efficient at doing what it already knows, and extraordinarily reluctant to build new circuits. This is a survival mechanism, an aging brain conserving metabolic energy. But here's the consequence. That preference for the familiar is also exactly how cognitive reserve gets depleted. Cognitive reserve is your brain's resilience buffer, its ability to absorb age-related structural changes and still function clearly. Think of it like the RAM in a computer. The more cognitive reserve you have, the more damage your brain can absorb before you start noticing symptoms. And the only way to build more RAM after 70 is to give your brain a genuinely new problem to solve. Every single day. A study from the University of Edinburgh following 1,091 adults from their early 70s into their mid-80s found that those who engaged in novel, challenging cognitive activity for at least 25 minutes daily showed a 44% slower rate of brain atrophy on MRI imaging. They maintained significantly better processing speed and episodic memory, and they were 36% less likely to receive a dementia diagnosis over the following decade. A second study from the Rush Memory and Aging Project found that seniors who described their daily lives as intellectually engaging showed brain function equivalent to adults 11 years younger on standardized neurological assessments. 11 years younger, from one daily habit. Robert, 78 years old from Denver, Colorado, came to me 3 years into retirement. A former architect. Brilliant man. His words, "I feel like my mind is running in slow motion. Like someone turned the volume down on my thinking." His cognitive assessments showed declining processing speed and word retrieval. Nothing alarming on imaging, but the trajectory was clear. I gave him one prescription. Pick something he had always wanted to learn and do it every single day. He chose the guitar. He had never played a single chord in his life. He was, by his own description, terrible. For months. 18 months later, he had learned 40 songs. He joined a small music group, which addressed number 2 on our list simultaneously. And his follow-up cognitive assessment showed improvement in 3 of 5 measured domains. Improvement. Not maintenance. Improvement. At 78. He told me, "I didn't just get my mind back. I got a version of myself I didn't know was still in there." The synergy tip here is critical. Pair your daily cognitive challenge with omega-3 fatty acids, specifically DHA found in fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines, or in a high-quality fish oil supplement. DHA is the primary structural fat of brain cell membranes. Research from the Framingham Heart Study shows that adults with higher DHA levels demonstrate significantly greater neuroplasticity responses to cognitive training. In other words, DHA helps your brain actually absorb the benefit of what you are learning. The new habit plants the seed. The DHA is the soil it grows in. I want to close with something I say from the heart, because I have sat across from enough people in their 70s and 80s to know something that medicine is still catching up to. This stage of life is too often treated like a closing chapter. Like the interesting parts are behind you and what remains is simply waiting. I have never believed that. And the real research, from the best institutions in the world, does not believe it either. The people I have seen thrive at 76, at 81, at 84, they are not exceptional because of genetics. They are exceptional because of choices, small ones, daily ones. The choice to move when it would be easier to sit, to eat with intention when appetite has faded, to call a friend when loneliness feels easier to accept, to pick up something new and strange and difficult, and struggle with it, when the familiar feels so much safer. I have watched a 79-year-old man paint his first canvas. I have watched a 77-year-old woman carry her own groceries up 3 flights of stairs and beam with a pride so quiet and so deep it made the whole room still. I have watched an 81-year-old remember every one of his grandchildren's birthdays, not because he wrote them down, but because his mind was still fully, magnificently his. That is what these 7 habits protect. Not just your health, your life, your independence, yourself. And I promise you, I have seen it in people who were told there was nothing left to optimize. It is never too late to begin. If you are not subscribed yet, please do that right now. Click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell, because every week I bring you research-backed health information designed specifically for adults in your age group. Information that your 15-minute doctor's appointment simply does not have time to cover. And now I want to hear from you. Leave your age in the comments below and tell me, which of these 7 things do you feel strongest in right now? And which one do you want to start building? I will read every single response. This community is one of the most thoughtful and engaged I have ever been part of, and that is entirely because of you. I'm Dr. Margaret Ellis. Take good care of yourself because you are worth the effort.